Yes, Mataji. The brothers bowed before Vishnu, confident of his protection. The Lord raised the hand in which he held the lotus. May whatever you have requested be granted. Vishnu turned to leave, but then hesitated and looked back at the brothers. He wanted to remain with them, Jay, but he drew on his power of renunciation and left to benedict innumerable other devotees. As he departed on Garuda, the Pracetas stood staring after him for a long time, longing for him to stay. In obedience to the Lord's order, they came out of the water. It was time to return to their father's kingdom. On reaching the banks, they saw that tall trees had overgrown the entire area. As they continued to walk, they noticed that there were no agricultural activities. Towering trees had covered every inch of land. The brothers frowned. How had this happened? One prince said, "The Lord has ordered us to rule the kingdom and protect the people, but the trees have grown out of control. They have left no space for agriculture or human residence." Another prince pointed upward. "It seems the trees want to even take over the heavens." The brothers' eyes turned red. They dare defy the rule of our father. Summoning the mystic powers they had accumulated from their long austerities, they opened their mouths and shot out continuous flames, burning down the trees in all directions. They resembled Rudra at the time of universal devastation. When Brahma saw all the trees on earth being destroyed, he quickly descended. Riding in his swan carrier, he called to the princes, "My dear boys, please give up your anger. You have cleared sufficient space. Desist from further violence towards the trees. They are necessary for the proper upkeep of the world." The remaining trees were shaking with fear. Brahma summoned the trees controlling deity. The celestial immediately appeared and bowed to Brahma, who said, "Please bring the girl the trees protected." Please bring the girl. Please bring the girl the trees protected. The deity brought forth a beautiful maiden. Brahma presented the girl to the brothers. "Please accept this girl as your wife and give up your anger." The night air had become chilly. Holding his hands up to the fire, Vidura said, "Did Brahma want all 10 brothers to marry the same girl? Who was she anyway?" Maitreya said, "Yes, Brahma asked them all to marry her. Her name was Marisa. After marrying the princess, she bore them one son, the same Daksha who was previously Brahma's son." "The one who offended Shiva?" "Yes, he was again named Daksha," said Maitreya.
Again named Daksha means he was born again or the same person? I don't understand. So, who was previously son of Brahma means that was one lifetime. Oh, that person took rebirth and then again he
And
was...
again called Daksha.
Oh my God, interesting. See, if you don't know...
Mataji, Krishna had told them, right, that all 10 of you marry the same girl.
Yeah.
The one that Moon had taken care of, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, even Pandavas, right? Mahabharat, they say Pandavas, they're not 5, they're actually 1. So we here also see the Pracetas, not like Kali Yuga brothers, they actually were 1. They had like kind of like expansions, you can say.
Mataji, in this whole thing, what struck me really was like Krishna didn't want to leave the association of the Prachetas. I mean, isn't that amazing?
Super amazing. This is
Wow.
incredible. Like imagine that's what means pleasing the Lord. When you please somebody, they're gonna leave you.
Yeah.
But then and then leave because he wanted to benedict other devotees. So this is really amazing. I mean, that's why it's personalism. It's not impersonal stuff, It's not like some light you merge into and Hari Hari bol, It's actually person. Krishna you have a relationship with him. Relationship means you're attached, So that's, again, it displays the nature of Krishna. Even in Vrindavan, he's attached to the gopis. He doesn't want to leave the gopis. He doesn't want to leave Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, right? So that mood is there. Rasastali Mataji, would you like to read a little bit?
Okay. Was he not revived by Shiva after being beheaded by Veerabhadra? Yes. He was first born during the reign of Swambhuva Manu in the first Manvantara, but as you know, because of offending Shiva, he was punished by having a goat head substituted for his own head. Thus insulted, he later gave up that body and then took birth from Marisha's womb during the sixth Manvantara called Chakshusha. His bodily effulgence at that time of his birth outshone the light of all luminous bodies. He came to be called Daksha, the highly expert, on account of his great skill in performing ritualistic sacrifice. Brahma therefore installed him as a Prajapati, instructing him to procreate and protect the creation. He became very powerful and opulent and began to direct and oversee other Prajapatis like Marichi. Chapter 31, Narada instructs the Pracetas. After hearing of Narada's discussion with the Pracetas, Vidura takes his leave from Maitreya. Maitreya looked up at night sky. It's past midnight. You must be tired. Tired? Who could feel tired when there is so much nectar flowing? I am eager to hear what happened with the Prachetas. Please finish their history. Your enthusiasm is infectious. Dear friend, listen, and I shall describe what transpired. After accepting Marisa as the mutual wife, the Prachetas lived at home for thousands of years, continually cultivating transcendental knowledge of Krishna, finally recalling Vishnu's blessing that they would eventually become disgusted with material enjoyment and return to the spiritual kingdom. They left home, entrusting Marisa to Daksha's care. They traveled to the ashram of the liberated sage Jajali on the western seashore, where they studied the Vedas and underwent severe penance. Consequently, they attained the perfection known as Brahmabhuta, the elementary stage of pure transcendental realization, characterized by equality to all living entities. Listen to what happened then. Narada stummed his veena as he chanted Radhika Ramana, descending from Brahma's abode. He saw 10 effulgent ascetics sitting in yogic asana, their backs perfectly straight, their eyes half closed, intoning Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He went closer. Who were these yogis? They appeared to have perfectly controlled their life, ears, minds, speech, and sight, and given up all material attachment. The sage examined their features. They looked very much like his disciple, Prachimbari. Surely they were his 10 sons, the Prachetas. Landing among them, Narada continued in chanting his chanting of Radhika Ramana. The princes, who were meditating with half closed eyes, looked around. Seeing the effulgent sage before them, dressed in black deer skin, his golden hair tied in a top knot, gently strumming his veena, the princes immediately recognized him. They quickly rose and bowed before him. Some ran and fetched water to wash Narada's feet. Others gathered forest berries to offer the sage. They laid a deerskin over pusha grass and invited Narada to sit. The 10 brothers sat around the sage, eager to hear from him. The eldest brother said, O great sage, exalted Brahmin, we hope you met with no disturbance while coming here. It is our great good fortune that we are able to see you. By your appearance, you have destroyed all fear, just as the rising sun destroys darkness and dissipates fear of thieves. Narada smiled. I was on my way to visit the Asuras and happened to see you. I recognized you immediately as King Prachimbari's sons. Pray, tell me, If I can serve you in any way, the Pracheta's faces lit up. How wonderful to have the opportunity to hear from the great devotee Narada. They looked to the eldest, indicating that he should answer. The prince cleared his throat and folded his palms. Master, we have spent many years absorbed in family enjoyment. We have practically forgotten the instructions we previously received from Shiva and Vishnu. Please enlighten us again in knowledge of the soul and its relationship with Krishna. This knowledge is like a torchlight which enables conditioned souls like ourselves to overcome the dark ignorance of material existence. Narada chanted softly under his breath as he surveyed the brothers. Like himself, they were obviously devoted to Krishna. It would be a pleasure to discuss the Lord's glories with them. He said, a person realizes the true value of his human birth by constantly engaging his activities, time, thoughts, and words in Krishna's loving service. Such a life is completely perfect. On the other hand, if a person does not utilize his human birth to serve Krishna, then even if he has taken all three births, everything is useless. The brothers looked at each other quizzically. Three births? Seeing their confusion, Radha said, the first birth is by seminal discharge. Even animals get such a birth. In human life, the parents should purify themselves before conception of performing the Garbhadhana Samskara ceremony. The next birth is initiation from a bona fide spiritual master, and the third is to be initiated as a Brahmin, allowing one to worship Krishna's deity form. All three are useless unless you worship Krishna. Even the immense lifespan of a celestial is useless without serving Krishna. Without bhakti, even a life so called spiritual cultivation has no value. The brothers nodded in understanding. This was the essential message they had heard from Vishnu and Shiva.
See, the three births, the biological birth, and then parents who purify before conception, and then the initiation. So the three births are, we all went through the three births. Ashka is still have yet to go through initiation, but also Komal, right? You have not yet received initiation.
Mataji, I have my spiritual master,
Oh, okay, sorry.
but not from ISKCON.
Yeah. But you have a spiritual name?
No, Mataji, we don't get spiritual names.
Acha. Like a family guru, is it?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, the point is there are three births. But if we don't worship Krishna, even if we, without bhakti, there is no point. It's like many zeros and no number.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Rasistali Mataji. Although you are not well, you did the reading. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Ashka, would you like to read a little bit? And then Rajesh Radhika Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. From where? Narada. Narada continue. Austerities, hearing and speaking on the Vedas, analytical ability, need intelligence, physical strength, and sensual acuity. All are worthless if not engaged in Krishna's service. The same is true of any process of transcendental realization such as Astangana or Sankhya Yoga. Sannyasa and performing serve austerities and studying the Vedas. These are beneficial only if they complement Krishna Bhakti, otherwise they too are useless. The eldest prince said, we have seen many ascetics who study the Vedas and perform Astangana but do not worship Krishna. They desire to merge with Brahman. Are their practices useless? My dear Parchetas, the goal of any spiritual practice is to realize the nature of the transcendental self of our soul. Krishna is the source and essence of all souls, for we are emanations of his spiritual energy. To realize ourselves, we must satisfy Krishna, for neither he nor his energy can be known, useless revealed by him.
Unless
Karm,
revealed by.
unless revealed by him. Uh, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga will only be effective if they realize Krishna. The
Please.
brothers The brothers listened attentively. Bhakti was obviously the key to spiritual success. What though of the other practices? Did they have any value? The eldest prince said, "Great sage Bhakti is required to success in all disciplines. But is the converse true? Must we perform elements of other practices such as offering sacrifice to the gods, yoga, and cultivating knowledge of Brahman before we can perfect our bhakti?" Narada shook his head. "Just as one nourishes the body by feeding the stomach, or a tree by watering the roots, or worshipping Vishnu, the root of all existence, satisfies all one's needs. There is no need to worship the gods who are a part of Vishnu, or practice any discipline other than bhakti. Nothing else is required, and another prince. But could other practices augment one's bhakti? Narada said, "Consider the example of the body. By feeding the stomach, you feed all other bodily parts. Will it help if we also put food in our eyes and ears?"
Hmm.
The brothers laughed, shaking their heads. Narada smiled. "You will simply become blind and deaf. Obviously, it is wrong to nourish the body parts by feeding them directly.
Hmm.
Similarly, it is a fault in bhakti to either worship the god or cultivating the knowledge of Brahmana independently of serving Krishna. My dear Parchetas, those who promote any practice other than Bhakti do not understand that Krishna is the root of existence, including Brahmana and the gods. Consider also the sun. It creates cloud which produce rainfall. Afterwards, the sun retrieves the rain as evaporation. Another example is that of our material bodies which come from the earth and after death return there. Similarly, of all of existence emanates from Krishna, and his due course of time returns him. There is therefore no destination between Krishna and its creation, just as
Distinction.
the distinction between Krishna and his creation. Just as there is no difference between the sun and its ray. The brothers looked puzzled. Was Narada saying everything is Krishna? Impersonal yogis also believe we are all Krishna, and when we achieve perfection, we merge with Him. One of them said, "Are you saying that we are all God?" "Not at all. The sunshine is not identical with the sun planets. If I say I am standing in the sunshine, that does not mean I am standing on the sun planet, though it's shining. However, the sun spread everywhere. Similarly, Krishna is present everywhere, though his energy.
Through
Both
his
we
energy.
through his energy, but we spirit souls and unconscious matter are his energy. The brothers began raising other doubts. What happened at the time of annihilation? Do we, his energies, cease to exist as individuals and become one with him? No, just as your senses, although inactive when they sleep, still exist. Similarly, at the time of annihilation, we return the M- Mahavishnu's body, where we continue to exist individually in an inactive state. Individual souls are not destroyed at the time of annihilation, they merely become unmanifest. Another prince said, "Great sage, how can Krishna, who is purely spiritual, to the cause of the material creation? Does that not mean he is materially affected?" And another brother added, I too had this doubt. I cannot see how the Lord can be unchanging if he is one with the material creation which is always in flux. Narada said, "My dear king, the sun causes cloud, rainfall, and snow, but it is unaffected by any of them. Similarly, without undergoing any change, the sun creates night and day, which constantly come and go. In the same way, the three modes of nature appear and disappear within Krishna without ever affecting him." The brothers nodded and smiled at each other, a simple and powerful smile. Narada continued, according to the Vedas, the material creation has three causes: time.
Yeah, thank you. Rajeshwari Radhika Mataji, would you like to read?
Yes. Prakriti, or the ingredients, and the creator. All three emanate from Krishna. He is the cause of all causes. As time, he is the efficient cause. As Prakriti, he is the material cause. As the Brahma, he is the creator. Krishna is the remote and immediate cause of everything and is also the supersoul of all living entities. He is aloof from the creation and, as already explained, unaffected by the interaction of the modes of nature, which are nevertheless under his control. Everything is in existence is Krishna's energy and should be engaged in his service. We too are qualitatively one with him, although quantitatively different, like a drop of ocean water. Therefore, we should always try to please him. One of the brother asked, "What please Krishna?" He is pleased when he shows compassion to all beings.
When we show compassion to all beings.
When we show compassion to all beings, when we are satisfied with whatever is easily obtained, and when we control our senses. When you have cultivated these three qualities, you will quickly satisfy Krishna. The brothers stared at Narada. Such qualities were rare indeed. Narada said, Start by trying to think of Krishna, and your heart will gradually become cleansed of material desire. In this way, your ability to think of him will increase, and when you can remember him constantly, you will be able to
Feelingly called
to him. Although Krishna is supremely independent, he enjoys being controlled by those who possess such devotion. Attracted by their love for him, Krishna never leaves such devotees. Just as the sky is always overhead wherever you go. Although Krishna is controlled by his pure devotees, he declines the worship of those with no devotion.
Okay. We'll pause there for today. Any last question or comment?
Mataji, this last sentence, he declines the worship of those with no devotion. So we might be doing lots of things, but if there's no real devotion, then it's all down the track.
Yeah. And see the opposite, right? He's controlled by his pure devotees. No, although he's controlled, like such a contrast, no, such contrast. He easily becomes controlled by pure devotees heart. At the same time, he can decline all kinds of rituals, everything perfectly done, perfectly pronounced verses, and everything we can do humanly perfect possible. Krishna is not pleased with any of that. That's why he's called Bhavagrahi Janardhana. So he only sees the good. And that's why it says, where was that previous sentence? The previous page. It says, he is pleased when we show compassion to all beings. I'll end with this personal realization. I've been like contemplating forgiving somebody, and it's quite difficult because the person is very not on goodness level, not very easy to be forgiven, to forgive. But I have been thinking that forgiveness is a gift I can give myself. It's not really that we are doing a favor to the other person. It's more about, if I can forgive, then I have more space for Krishna in my heart. If I don't forgive, there is more dirtiness for resentment and fear and revenge and whatever. So the purpose is, no, I should have more space for Krishna in my heart. So forgiveness creates that space in our heart. And yeah, it's not overnight process. Sometime morning we want to forgive, evening we don't want to forgive. 1 hour we want to forgive, the next hour we don't feel to forgive. So it's a process, and we keep giving it to Krishna. We ask Krishna, if you would like my heart to be more clean, for you to stay there, please remove this hurt feelings, remove the resentment, remove fear or revengeful mentality. We just ask the Lord to take it away from our heart, so that it becomes livable for Krishna. It becomes livable for Krishna, because he cannot live where there is kalmasha, where there is dirt, where there is envy and greed and lust and anger. If I keep it in my heart, where is the space for the Lord? So this page, what we read now, can be practically applied by not trying to get back at the person. I had a chance to get back at the person, and I asked a couple of close friends, and one friend said, of course it will feel good if you get back at the person. But my heart, I wasn't able to accept it, digest it. I was not peaceful with that idea. And then another friend just said, look, don't go down to that level of that person, just prioritize that Lord should be in your heart. So the point is, it's not only for prachetas or great devotees. Even in our own small capacity, if the Lord doesn't enter our heart as much as he entered prachetas and wanted to stay with them, at least if I keep my heart clean and open and let Krishna in as much as I can, then the eagerness can develop. Yeah, so it's important, the self-love, dignity, so we can allow more and more of nourishment in Krishna consciousness to grow in us, and not to cultivate, not to fan the flame of envy and anger and resentment, but to give space for the good things. It's very practical. It's a little bit difficult because the false ego usually prevents us from doing it. But when we have good association, we have people that we can reveal our minds in confidence and get advice, then we can rise above that. I see a question in the chat box. Can we become indifferent in such case? Oh yes, absolutely. Actually, that's the secret formula. To become indifferent is the goal. In one sense, to become indifferent is where we need to reach. Like, this person is a very abusive type, and when I see the person around, and if I can rise above all my emotions and just become indifferent, whether they succeed, whether they fail, whether they look good, whether they are everybody's criticizing them or everybody's praising them, I should just say, whatever, indifference. Actually, Bhagavatam says that we should develop that indifference, because in material world, to survive, we need that indifference. So it's the secret. The secret word is becoming indifferent. But sometimes when it's involved with your emotions, it's hard to become indifferent. So we need to force. I learned even from somebody who is not even a Hare Krishna devotee. They were saying how you should pray for that person. Like, if you hate someone, if you have resentment, you should pray for that person, because the first thing that comes out is curse, no? Because this person was very, lying all the time, manipulating. So the first thing that comes to mind is tamas guna, destructive thoughts come. I want this person to be destroyed, or I want this person to live in lies and die in lies. And I was trying to journal. Even to write out those words was difficult for me, because now Bhagavatam is giving us the right language. So it was even difficult for me to journal the wrong language, because there is a theory that if you feel bad, you should write it out and put it out of you, like that, right? But when I tried to write it out, it felt so bad, because this person was so much lying all the time, and I wanted to wish them, I wish that you always live in lies and die in lies, and always I also find friends who lie, just be happy in your lies, be not happy, like don't never find happiness because you live in lies, something like that I wanted to say, initially. But then I changed my mind. Krishna helped me, because I was going to Krishna and saying, I don't want to curse somebody, I don't want to do that. No, let me be better, let me clean my side of the road, let me clean my heart. Okay, they may be dirty, full of lies, full of manipulation, they'll suffer whatever they have to suffer, or maybe they won't suffer. We don't know. Krishna is up to Krishna. But at least I can stop suffering and remove that from my heart. Yeah. Why? Why are you saying I'm sorry? Forgive me.
No, we can chant for the person. Like,
Yes, yes,
we
yes.
can
Yeah,
in our
forgive.
heart, not like if we go in front of them and then we can confess, or we can do like, they will think in other way. So it's
True.
better, because even I have felt this kind of thing. Then I thought that leave it. I just
Yeah,
pray,
yeah.
and then it's up
Give
to
it to
them.
Krishna. Give it to
Yeah.
Krishna, right? Yeah. The good and the bad, we can give both to Krishna, because you know what? He can handle it.
Yeah, and basically we can think about our thoughts. We should not think much on these areas. Otherwise, we are giving a lot of energy, which is not supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. And let's start our Vishnu Sahasranaam. Oh, Rasastali Mataji, are you able to read the affirmation?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
go ahead.
Affirmation 14. I turn off my world and turn on Krishna's world when I chant my rounds. As mentioned before, when we are chanting, we may sometimes be thinking about what's going on in our life. We might think about what we have to do, things we like and don't like, problems to deal with, etc. Whatever the case, such thoughts are about our life, not Krishna's life. This is interesting because the holy name includes Krishna's Leelas, not our Leelas. I am often asked, how can I control my mind while chanting? One of the reasons our minds wanders is that we haven't told our mind, while I am chanting, you have a break. I am turning off. In fact, I am turning my whole life off. So, when we begin chanting, we need to mentally turn off all the lights in our life. In other words, turn off the lights of what we didn't finish yesterday, what we have to do today, the problems we are facing, etc. When we don't do this, we give the mind license to think of these things while we chant. And this makes controlling the mind difficult. It also be helpful to internally create a bhajan kutir, an internal space in which our world is turned off and the only thing allowed in is Krishna in the form of his holy name. Another thing that is helpful is to get up early and then create a time-free zone. This means to imagine that our life doesn't start until after japa. In other words, during the morning when we are chanting, we are mentally not in our day yet. No, let's say our day begins at 7 a.m. and we are up at 5 a.m. We remind ourselves that our day doesn't begin until 7, and thus there is nothing to think about during japa other than Krishna. If we get ourselves into this consciousness, we will find it much easier to focus. And this is easier to do than we may think. We do this every night when we turn off our lives, so go to sleep. We also do this when we turn off our world to watch a movie, surf the internet, read a book, or engage in a hobby. This affirmation is meant to remind us to create the proper internal space before we begin chanting. Hare Krishna.
Wow, Powerful.